Well, we did pretty well for ourselves on the thermometer today as we officially kick off spring in a little over 6 hours. But for all intents and purposes, we've been able to get off to a pretty nice start. It's a shame we won't be able to keep it that way. Lows tonight in the teens and low to mid-20s under partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, noticeably chillier in the 30s in many locations to the east, but milder to southwestern portions of South Dakota. Then we keep an eye on the end of the weekend, That's when things get interesting. We'll talk about that coming up, but until then, First at 4 starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group. KELOLAND News, First at 4.
The SDSU men and women's basketball teams are getting ready for the big dance. How our sports team is getting prepared to cover their games.
Plus, Minnesota's governor unveiled a massive supplemental budget for the state. Look at what's in the package.
And later, Shields in Sioux Falls is making Easter baskets for children. How you can help put a smile on a child's face. Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to First at 4. I'm Don Jorgensen.
And I'm Tom Hansen. One woman is dead after a UTV crash in rural Meade County last night. The Meade County Sheriff's Office was called to an area between Dalton Lake and Piedmont. That's a popular UTV and ATV route. Authorities say a UTV left the road and hit a tree. A female passenger was found dead when emergency services got there. The driver was taken to the hospital. This crash remains under investigation by the South Dakota Highway Patrol.
There is no shortage of storylines ahead of the South Dakota State men's basketball team's 7th NCAA tournament appearance. Our KELOLAND sports team is getting ready for the big dance. Grant Sweeter is headed to Omaha with the SDSU men as they face the Iowa State Cyclones. And Ian Sachs will be joining the SDSU women in Spokane, Washington, where they'll be taking on Utah. They'll both bring us live reports on KELOLAND News along with social media updates and live blogs during the games. Well, along with March Madness comes kind of crazy weather sometimes, too.
It's so gorgeous out there today.
Right now, but it sounds like it could be changing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is why I like to say March Madness is not just for the basketball court. It is perfectly valid in the weather department as well. And we are going to get a textbook example of that just over the next 7 days. If you just took today at face value and called it quits for the rest of the month, yeah, we'd be doing pretty well. Take case in point, there's downtown Sioux Falls, some fair weather cloud cover above, but 64 degrees at the airport. Yes, it's a windy 64 with a north wind at 21 miles per hour, but still, considering this is going to be easily the best day of the next at least 7 to 10. That should really set the tone for what we're keeping an eye on. Meanwhile, from east to west we go. There's downtown Rapid City, 66 degrees out in Pennington County with a noticeably calmer breeze out there just out of the north at 6 miles per hour. So again, fair weather clouds. That's basically the only blemish to an otherwise pretty nice day today. Over the hills, Spearfish to Belfouche, and then again from Eagle Butte to Pierre, and then on and off basically along and north of Highway 14. Where we have generally sunnier skies down toward the Nebraska border. Regardless, yeah, you can't lose. The one outlier, if you want to get nitpicky on the thermometer, is up in the northeastern corner of KELOLAND, 47 in Sisseton and 46 up toward Ortonville, 51 even toward Watertown, 55 Brookings, 58 Worthington, but 60 or better across a vast majority of the region, including 67 in Pine Ridge and 65 for Valentine along with Winter. And yeah, this is noticeably warmer compared to yesterday, especially in southeastern KELOLAND. We're 20 to 25 degrees warmer in the southeastern portion of the viewing area, but yeah, we're going to be going the other way pretty quickly as we head into the day tomorrow. And there's what I'm talking about. We're going to be going into the 30s and 40s for high temperatures east river, even a couple of upper 20s toward the Prairie Coteau into Sisseton. But out west, we try to hold on to those milder temperatures, if you're in southwestern South Dakota at least. But then we get ready for a bumpy ride through the weekend. We'll talk about that in a little more detail as we head through the hour.
Thank you, Adam. Well, the cost of enjoying the great outdoors in Iowa state campgrounds, recreation areas, and forests, it's increasing. The Iowa Department of Natural Resources is raising prices for camping this year for the first time since 2021. The price increase ranges from $1 to $6 per night, depending on the park. DNR officials say the rates were increased slightly to address rising operational costs, sales tax, and inflation.
The head boys wrestling coach at Hinton High School in Iowa has officially resigned following an alleged assault of Hinton students at a state tournament. Casey Crawford and another coach were put on administrative leave for an undisclosed reason about a month ago. The school district is updating its policies around social media and state tournament planning, food, and lodging as the alleged assaults are being investigated.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz unveiled his $250 million supplemental spending proposals that cover extra priorities that he hopes lawmakers will consider this year. Caroline Cummings breaks down the proposal.
Last year we made generational historic investments in Minnesotans.
The $72 billion state budget lawmakers approved last year was the largest ever, covering the 2-year period we're currently in. The price tag for what Governor Tim Walz wants the legislature to consider this year is much smaller.
We're going to meet this moment with a smaller, intentional supplemental budget that addresses statewide needs.
The big focus in non-budget writing years is a bonding bill to fund infrastructure projects, which the governor says is the top priority. But he's also pitching $16 million to shore up emergency medical services that are on the brink of collapse in parts of rural Minnesota. A one-time boost to teacher pension funds, which would save an educator making $50,000 a year $450, according to Walz, and tweaking a new tax credit program designed to cut child poverty by allowing for advanced payments before tax filing season begins. That would create a cushion for people who previously met income limits for the credit but are making more money now.
You don't have that fear that if you get into the program, you might have to be paying things back at the end.
This plan from Walz would leave $2 billion on the state's bottom line for the next 2-year budget cycle, which lawmakers would begin discussing next January. That's important because revenue forecasters say that the future outlook shows that the amount of money that the state is bringing in is not keeping pace with spending. So lawmakers need to think critically about every single dollar they spend this year.
This budget, I think, fits all the bills that Minnesotans are looking for. Fiscally responsible by investing in our children, investing in the middle class, investing in our infrastructure and growing businesses, all while keeping a solid fiscal footing.
Caroline Cummings, WCCO News.
The state surplus available during this 2-year budget is $3.7 billion. Lawmakers will have to sign off on his proposal, and they are considering their own plans also.
A proposed amendment to put an age limit on North Dakota's congressional delegates will appear on the state's primary ballot in June. The proposed amendment would make it so no one over the age of 80 could serve in the state of Congress. If passed, this would not impact any current North Dakota congressional lawmakers who are eligible for re-election this year. The amendment would go into effect on January 1st of next year.